Hey everybody, this is Black Cell, and this is a brief explanation and overview on how to set up your hotbars and your UI for the PlayStation 4 for Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. I'm going to start off with going and showing you exactly how the cross hotbar system works. The way that I have mine set up is with the expanded cross hotbars. Gives you access to more of your abilities and right at your fingertips. So to get access to your first one, you start off by holding or pressing R2 and just using the abilities that you need to use. You do the same with holding the L2 button. Now in order to get access to the cross hotbars, or the expanded cross hotbars, you double tap R2 and double tap L2. You could also access a third set by holding R2 and holding L2, or holding L2 and holding R2. In order to get this set up, you go to your character settings, then to your hotbar settings, and to your cross hotbar. This one's pretty obvious. You want to keep your cross hotbars enabled at all times, or it'll only just simply display, I believe, when it's in battle. This setting allows you to pick whether you want to hold the cross hotbar to access your skills, to toggle it, which will keep it accessed with one press or another, or a mixture of the two. This setting changes how your actual cross hotbars function. This one at the top is the easiest for me. The WXHB settings is the expanded cross hotbar. I like to keep mine on at all times. If I ever want to turn them off, I can just do so differently. Then you're going to go over to your custom settings, and this is where you get to pick which ones you want to have enabled and how. This is my setup, and this is how you get yours to look like mine if that's what you want, or you can play around with it to your heart's content. But with this gives you access to the R2 plus L2 settings, which is what I showed a little bit earlier, and the WXB, which is you double tap and then double tap. I'm going to go back up to this again for a second. Again, if you want to do the R2 L2 combos, which is where you press and hold up both, this is the settings to have for that, and this is your double tap settings. I usually keep my combos set for party information, things like that. It's pretty helpful when tanking. In order to set your skills to the expanded cross hotbar, it can be a little bit tedious, but it's definitely worth it. The way that you have to do it is you actually have to cycle through your hotbars. You can do this by holding L or R1, and it brings up your menu, and you can just pick which one you want to set. In my case, my expanded hotbars at the top and the left and right is cross hotbar 4. So to set the abilities, I cycle the hotbar 4, go over to my actions and put them in where I want them, and then I switch back over to my regular battle hotbars. In order to do my expanded one on the bottom, mine is set to cross hotbar 8, and then you set your abilities according to that also. Now the UI I have set up is set to 150%. It's because I'm using a 55-inch TV instead of a computer monitor and sitting in a recliner halfway across a room, so I need to have it kind of large where I can see everything effectively. I like to keep my party menu in the top left hand corner, slightly below where your main scenario guide usually goes. It's because it expands down and it still gives me room to see a full party or a light party. I also put my hate list out to the right side of this, so it scrolls down close to where my party menu is, but it doesn't overlap when I'm looking at buffs and debuffs on my parties. I set my alliance bar in between here, alliance 1 and alliance 2, so that everything's nice and close. Now briefly with target selection, using the PlayStation controller, you normally will do tab targeting, which is you hold R2 and you press either L1 or R1, and that allows you to cycle between targets. But in a tanking stance, sometimes you need to do better than just tab target. So you're doing a big pull in the dungeon and you've got several enemies, and maybe a deeps pulls off you because he attacks too soon or what have you. So if you need to go through your hate list and pick something specific, you can hold L1 and tap up or down on the D-pad, and you can specifically change who you're targeting based off of what you see in your hate menu. So if you need to throw down or provoke, say on the water spirit, and I don't want to tab target it, hold L1, press up, and drop provoke. Can also be useful when you're DPSing. If you need to change targets quickly to drop down something that has a tank buster or whatever, you can cycle through it pretty quickly. Now for healing, it's pretty intuitive as well. You simply press up or down on your D-pad to select the party member. And you don't even have to tap X on it to actually use the ability on the party member. Let's say highlight and drop a cure, and then it goes back to your initial highlighted person. So if you want to keep your focus on your tank without actually having to focus target the tank, you can just go around and drop your skills as you need to, and then the next one you cast will be back on your original target. Pretty easy, pretty simple. As far as going through your raid groups and selecting allies from your alliance groups in a raid, it's similar to the tab or to the up and down function holding the L1 with the hate list. You hold the L1 button and you tap left or you tap right, and then it allows you to select the alliance and then the individual party members in the other alliances. So if you got a alliance 2 healer that goes down or something, you can quickly select over to them, highlight them, and drop a quick battle res on them and bring them back. It's also effective too if you're running on PlayStation to use a Bluetooth keyboard. You either have to have it directly connected if you have a corded one into one of the USB ports, or you can use one of the little Bluetooth dongles, I think is what they're called. PlayStation works great with those. That's what I use when I'm doing mine. And you, of course, you get all the functionality from the keyboard that you would on a PC as well. So you're not actually losing anything at all. PlayStation does have different types of little keyboards that will attach to your controllers. I've had 3 or 4 of these. It's been my experience that they're not really effective. A lot of them will disconnect the Bluetooth when you're not using them enough. I'd say battery, they usually fall apart and break or disconnect from the PlayStation or fall off the controller. Well, that's been my explanation for the UI and ability hotbars for the PlayStation 4.